Our test driver Christoph Bauer has chosen a real revolutionary to race around the curvy roads of Tuscany, a Golf GTI. The standard Golf didn't set race car drivers' hearts ablaze, but the three letters GTI changed all that. They revolutionized the compact car market for Volkswagen, for Germany, and for the world. Christoph says the Golf became the successor to the Beetle in 1974, the time of the oil crisis, when driving was banned on some Sundays in Germany. VW was convinced that 70 horsepower was enough for a Golf. The Scirocco was the sportier line in the VW fleet back in '74. With its more aerodynamic form, it promised maximum speeds of 175 kilometers an hour. The Golf, by contrast, was intended to appeal to VW's traditional customer base, thrifty, down-to-earth drivers without a sporty bone in their body and no particular penchant for the passing lane. Christoph says some engineers started tinkering with the Golf in their spare time. They started to develop a prototype more or less on their own. 2 years down the road, after a few successful test drives, the sporting version of the Golf was officially commissioned. Nowadays, every child knows the abbreviation GTI. GTI stands for Gran Turismo Injection, a synonym for motorsport. The first version was the most popular one, with sales of 461,000 vehicles over 7 years. Christoph says it's still pretty nippy today thanks to its 110 horsepower engine and a weight of just 860 kilos. The chassis is a good compromise between sportiness on the one hand and comfort and safety on the other. VW places a lot of importance on safety. This sticker asks drivers to remain belted in until the motor has come to a complete standstill. Cost was also an important factor. The development of the first GTI cost just 7 million West German marks. The 1.6-liter engine was originally built for the Audi 80 GTE. Back then, the Audi plant in Ingolstadt was responsible for developing all of the company's engines. Christoph says that VW then focused on breaking through the 180-kilometer-an-hour barrier. That proved tricky at first, probably because of the air drag. But they came up with a simple and practical solution, the front spoiler. As a result, they could proudly announce top speeds of 183 kilometers per hour.
Spitzengeschwindigkeit 183 km/h.
But this front spoiler, which made such a splash in the mid-'70s, isn't the GTI's only trademark. Christoph says little details have earned the car a big following, like the oil temperature gauge and the plaid pattern on the sports seats, like in the Scirocco. The iconic Golf ball gear shift warms the hearts of fans. On the outside, too, VW had to show that the GTI was no ordinary Golf, so Christoph says the front spoiler, the red-bordered radiator grille, and the black trim were features of the GTI until the mid-'80s. And, of course, the wing extensions. 175mm tires came as standard, but the GTI had room for ones as wide as 205mm, like the Porsches of the time. Who was afraid of the big bad Golf? The competition, that's who. In 1976, the car cost less than 14,000 Deutschmarks and could go from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 9 seconds. But for many owners, that wasn't enough. They pimped their GTIs for all they were worth. They love to tune the GTI's 1.6-liter engine with its Bosch mechanical fuel injection. Christoph says it was very popular, especially in small towns, to soup up the GTI with spoilers, wide tires, sports suspensions and seats, and big bass speakers. After parading in front of the local disco, the car would occasionally wind up in a ditch. So original, first series GTIs are real rarities. The sheet metal used to make the cars wasn't always top quality, which has also led to the demise of many GTIs. Christoph says, as of the mid-70s, sporty cars were rolling off the Volkswagen assembly lines in Wolfsburg, as well as at Porsche and Ferrari. The GTI started the trend towards sport sedans, so the GTI definitely deserves to be called a milestone in automobile history. With its compact form, front-wheel drive, and impressive performance, the GTI didn't just prove a winning recipe for VW. The first GTI created a whole new market segment in the automobile industry.